Hello everyone, I'm just holding the camera. This is even more impromptu than usual. Excuse my voice. It's the early morning voice. Sorry. And so I didn't get to do a weekly wrap up yesterday, or weekly reads, because of just tiredness and busyness. I am, a bit at the end of my tether. I call it brain exhaustion, but I did want to do a video. I apologize for the voice. And so, because I finished things, for me, that's, not always the case. I did finish Woman Upstairs. I gave it a real thorough rereading as opposed to skimming. And it did come through a bit more. I think the ending is kind of interesting. I still have quite a few issues with the book. And I think they do kind of center around the fact that this is a 37-year-old woman who's kind of decided her life is awful and that she wants a different life. And that she wants to be an artist. But to me, all of her stuff about wanting to be an artist seems to be she wants to have the life of the artist and the recognition of a great artist. But it's as if the actual center, the crux of being an artist is the art. And that seems to be sort of, even though she does make art, even that sort of seems not to be the main, for an artist, the main source of their joy should be the work that they make, and everything else should be external. I know this is an idolized, and of course recognition is nice, but for her it does seem to go back to wanting this kind of external recognition that she is better than a 37-year-old unmarried lady who teaches third graders, as if that's sort of something to look down on. And I do think there's quite a bit of unacknowledged privilege in here, maybe just on the part of the narrator, who has enough money to live in Cambridge and seems to have a fine life. She is lonely. I think another thing is that she's sort of lonely, and so she glums on. The whole story is about how she connects to this family. So there's sort of literary antecedents here. Death in Venice a little bit, although it's quite different. And I think those kinds of stories do kind of rely on an unreliable narrator to a certain degree, or at least one who's just not quite, I don't know, reliable, I guess. Sorry for being not very coherent this morning. So it's better, but I still have issues with it. And actually, one of the main issues is pretty basic. I don't like that the othering of the quote-unquote villains, or the portrayal of these people who are not what she is, East Coast white Americans. And that bordered on cliche to me and stereotyping, the way they're described and the way she sort of loves their otherness. It just kind of irks me. I don't know why. And I don't know why. It's something I don't like. Anyway, but so I gave it 3. But in a way, it's like I've thought about it so much that it's interesting. I'm trying not to give too much away about how the connection between her art and the sort of ultimate crux of the story. There's something there too. But even that sort of has to do with her wanting to be seen as in a certain way, and that not really happening. I don't know. But I'm glad I reread it. I really do think it was worth it to take the time to, and it's a very purposeful and quick read. So for that sense, I'm not exactly sure how sort of literary it is. That's the thing, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The other thing I finished, which was really excellent, was Intermezzo. Oh my gosh, Sally Rooney. That was just a wonderful listen, with this beautiful Irish accent narrator. She got into the nitty-gritty of close relationships in such a way, this may sound strange, but it did kind of remind me of Henry James, even though the writing's not Henry James, but the sort of dissecting of the emotions, you get a lot of interiority with her. And my favorite character is Ivan. He's just, actually the woman, I forget her name, she's also wonderful. They're just beautifully, warmly, and just a lot. It's about grief because they're mourning their father and being incoherent, but it was a beautiful book, and I am interested in other ones. And I do like the ending because it seemed to sort of be a quiet sort of realizing what it actually means to be an adult in today's world, and how you interact with people, and how you have to be accepting in a sort of very basic way. It does come back to basic things like kindness and understanding and empathy and self-awareness and self-knowledge. And I loved it. I really did think it's a great work. And I was shocked that I liked it so much. And I'm wondering about if you've read other Sally Rooney's, which one I should go to next, maybe. And I just started listening to the Balkan Trilogy. It's just the beginning of a long listen, but it's in 3 parts. So the first one is, I forget what it's called, The Forces of War, perhaps, and it's only 11 hours, which to the likes of me who made it through 60 hours of Jerusalem, it's nothing. And Intermezzo was pretty quick too. It was just a couple of hours. I mean, I don't know how many hours, but it seemed pretty quick. Compared to Jerusalem, everything is quick. Let's see what else. I had a bit of some medication and things. I tried to wean myself off of one medication and had a withdrawal. I felt really kind of weird, and so I had to go back on it. It's not the Deluxetine, it's a different one. And so that kind of threw me off this week. And then at the end here, let me look at my little journal. Sorry to be so messy in my filming. I have to get ready for the day. I'm struggling with Marlene, to be honest, because of brain exhaustion. So I think I might set it aside. I'm not DNFing it, but I might set it aside. Oh, I remember I've been listening to German radio, just interesting things that you never kind of come across. There was a really interesting report about people living in Papua New Guinea, which is really kind of a strange, difficult place. There's a lot of crime. It was just a really interesting, to me as someone, from Australia, so we heard about Papua New Guinea, but it's just a very sort of isolated place still. It's just something you would never sort of hear even on NPR, because here it's all terrible, terrible news about people that, I'm on Blue Sky mainly and I look at the news a little bit, but the terrible people that are going to be in charge of vast quantities of money in our government, and it's just extremely, extremely unsettling to me. Of course, it's unsettling to everyone, I guess, who has a brain. I don't know. It's just, I don't even know what to say about that. So yeah, I think I might be setting Marlene aside because it's not meshing well with my brain exhaustion. I wrote here that Orbital won the Booker. So I think it's Samantha Harvey. I don't know. Have you read it? Should I read it? Just kind of looking at my notes here. Yes. So so there's 2 books in the running, but I think I may have decided. So at first I thought I might continue with my Zola thing, because I noticed that my Zola video, people like that little video I made about reading Zola in this different order, at least in terms of views. It's my most viewed video, which is interesting. And I love that. So I do want to read the next one first. So for me, it's going to be The Conquest of the Plaisance. But I think for brain exhaustion, I might go back to my favorite author, the Austrian guy, but not his book After Summer, but this other one that I haven't read yet. And I love this little edition, and it's called The Folder of My Great-Grandfather. And it's a story about, and that's probably a picture that he painted, because Stifter was also a painter. Die Mappe meines Urgroßvaters. I think I might read this. So a strange, quiet Austrian novel. And maybe I'm going to be a fan of little editions. Maybe that'll be my new obsession. I'm going to stop here. Sorry for the messiness of this update, but I got it done, and I will see you next week. And everything is sort of winding down, but there's still quite a bit of work before it does wind down. And I guess next week is Thanksgiving week, so I'll have to teach on Monday a little bit. But after that, I'm free until the following Monday. And even then, I don't have a lot to do because of the way I've set out the classes. So I'm excited for that. I sort of can see how it's going to end. And then suddenly I will have more time in it. And it's always a bit of a tricky transition to go from just having your time sort of set for you to suddenly having a lot of free time. And I want to be mindful of how I spend it. It's always a bit tricky. Sometimes I get sort of, and in the beginning, I'll probably just have to sort of be quiet and rest before I sort of get all active and do all the things. So we'll see. Talk to you soon. Thank you all for watching. Bye.